All right, this one's gonna be about how I wound up getting out of prison, man. This is gonna be about how I wound up getting out of prison after doing 26 years on a life plus 20 with no chance of parole. Remember, I had no chance of parole. So I'm gonna break this joint down, let y'all see how this thing ride. But let's get this intro going first. I keep it going, 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 keep it going. Make it what? Make it audio. 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 I like the way it's going now. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio, man. First of all, let me begin by giving myself a round of applause. Calm down. I'm hype. I'm feeling good. I just talked to one of the little homies. You know, let me tell you how this go, man. Let me tell you how this play out. Let me sit in my prison cell real quick in my hallway. I just talked to one of the little homies from Harlem. When I got locked up, he was about 7 or 8 years old in 1993. When I got locked up in 1993, his mother, was leaving him at my grandmother's house. Rest in peace to my little brother Champ. His mother was leaving him at Champ's grandmother's house. Grandma took care of everybody over there on 48th Street. Big shout out to 48th Street and Grandma, and rest in peace to Grandma and Champ. And I got to give my man Champ, what's that? 3-gun salute. All right. Now, that's my little brother Champ. I raised Champ. Champ is my little brother, and Grandma used to take care of everybody. I'm talking about she had about maybe 12 kids in there that she was taking care of, because no disrespect, a lot of the mothers was out, getting high off the poison that, I was letting into the community, but I knew no better at the time, but I know better now. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to try and get back to the community. Now, this little kid was staying there with them, so of course he heard my name, from my little, nieces and nephews and all that he's staying with. So, but, they didn't speak on, my caliber and my status around them. Now, I run into this kid in 2010, about 2010, 2011 in Coleman, Florida. When I run into him in Coleman, Florida, and he said he was from Harlem, 48th Street, you know what I mean? He mentioned grandma, so I told him, oh yeah, that's my grandmother, that's family, da-da-da. And he like, yeah, I heard of you, da-da-da-da. But then now when he's hearing on the compound from the people that he's talking to, they like, yo, oh, Unique? Oh man, that's the man, da-da-da-da. And, he bucked it. He was like, nah. Not that old nigga. At the time, I'm about 48 years old, and I'm laid back. I'm playing humble, just to get out of prison, because, it's a time when you got to man up, So I manned up, and I'm trying to get out of prison. So I'm trying to, what they call in prison, duck wreck. That's what they call it. Just keep it at 100. Call it duck wreck. Yeah, I ducked wreck. You know what I mean? But I didn't duck wreck because I was scared. For me, I was scared for what I might do and the repercussions to my reaction to the actions that I would fall into, not duck and wreck, which I've never done, but I had to do that as it got close to, once I got about 15 years in, I knew I had to start thinking for thinking for brothers. Muhammad 3X told me to refrain from using the N-word, so I'm letting you know I got your message. Big shout out to, Junior, you know what I mean, for bringing the message to me. So I'm not going to say the N-word. I'm going to try to refrain from it, but every once in a while I slip into my mode. So, Brother Muhammad, please forgive me. I know that, everybody's watching me because right now I'm a role model. But anyway, so this little brother, he sit there, and every time he heard something about me, like somebody said something positive, giving me my flowers while I was in the joint, he tried to downplay it and say, not that old N-word, brother, and blah, 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 blah. And, he went on, and, he was just real reckless with the mouth. You know what I mean? But the kid was like maybe 23 years old, and I'm 47, 48 years old. So I kept saying to myself, if I put my hands on this young brother, I know he's watching. I just want him to understand what was really going on, because we talked today for a couple of minutes, not long, but just long enough for him to understand that I love him. I didn't hold none of that against him, because I knew where he was at mentally, because at 23, I didn't want to hear about no old nigga being, no old brother being the man. You understand what I'm saying? So he bucking everything I'm doing. So it's like they be like, yeah, oh man, Unique was the man. He had all the coke on the East Coast. He did this, he did that. Like, nah. My P, I never heard of him. And, I'm telling him, like, dude, you're 23 years old. You know what I mean? I've been gone for more than half your life. You was 7 when I got locked up. So what do you know? Man, I know everything. I'm on the street. I know this, I know that. And this is the way he's going on, So every time we was in the yard and I would talk, the kid would be real disrespectful and say a stupid joke trying to belittle me. Yes, trying to belittle me, But I had to think to myself, and I knew that if I got in an argument with him, or if I put my hands on him, then that means once I go home, I'm not going to be able to communicate with my kids his age. Because how would I tell my child that I put hands on somebody his age when I'm a father? I'm old enough to be this kid's father, so this is what we're going through my mind. But he don't know what's going through my mind. And he tried to push my buttons. A couple of times he pushed it. He pushed it. He pushed it very far. You know what I mean? Very far. He was so disrespectful out the mouth. But the main thing, he didn't never disrespect me and, call me no rat or no he monkey cipher. So everything else I could deal with, But definitely don't go there. You know what I mean? So this is where we at with this kid. And I'm trying to take my time to explain to y'all so you understand. When I went in and I was his age, I was 29, he was 23. But when I went in at 29 years old, I'm snapping on older dudes. It's an older dude I told y'all about. If y'all been listening to all the videos, I know some of y'all came late to the channel. Welcome to the channel. And go to my podcast at Unique Mecca Audio at Spotify, iTunes, and all the podcast stations. And please download the video. And I'm also on Roku TV. But definitely go to my podcast, please. That's all I'm asking you. Go there. I'm not even mentioning the Pet Cash App. Just go to the podcast channel and download a video, one of your favorite videos. I got about 70 up there, maybe even 100. But anyway, this kid was so disrespectful, man. I don't even know how to put it. I was this close, But what helped to refrain me is his uncle is my brother. And I wouldn't want to have to put his uncle in a situation to choose between me and his nephew. He kept mentioning his uncle, and he looked up to his uncle and he praised his uncle. You know what I mean? Big shout out to his uncle. But he was real disrespectful, and I didn't want to disrespect, my brother's nephew, who is now my nephew, but he just don't realize it at the time, I've been down a long time. I'm getting older. I'm getting wiser, man. So that's why I'm talking a laid-back tone today, so y'all understand. So this kid, like, dudes was telling him, like, yeah, he was, Unique was on the Fed magazine. And he's like, no, he wasn't. And he swore up and down I wasn't on the Fed magazine. So he called home to check his family to see if I'm on the Fed magazine and who I was and this and that. So he could come back to the yard the next day and say that I was being one of those military brothers in the army. Because, in the army, it's, be all you want to be, all you can be in the army. So he think I was one of those fake dudes making up a story that I'm from Harlem, I'm this kingpin. Because everybody's telling them these stories. I'm not telling them nothing. I'm just sitting back doing my bid, going to the law library and trying to get out of prison. So I respect this kid. I know he's watching me. The reason why I respect him is because after he called home and asked if I was on a Fed magazine and who I was, and all of that, once he did that and they told him who I was, the next morning he came to the yard and, he called me to the window. So when I got to the window, I couldn't hear what he said because it's a big, thick glass. But he sat there and he did this. You know what I mean? He gave me my props. He let me know that I called home. I check on you. So he wanted me to come out. I didn't go out then because I didn't want to deal with him then because he was real aggravating. He was a pain in the ass. Yeah, you was a pain in the ass, big bro. I'm telling you, you was a pain in the ass. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm not saying his name. I asked him if I could say his name. He said no, but this is how I respect men. And he's a man. So I'm respecting him by not saying his name, but he knows who I'm talking about. I'm not going to give up too much for y'all to figure out who I'm talking about. But those that was there know, and that's who's supposed to know. But anyway, I go to the yard later on that afternoon, and when I go to the yard, this brother is out there, and he take, man, I call home. They said this, they said that, you know what I mean? And he give me my props now. Now he's giving me my flowers. But he still would slide in because I think it was hard for him to fathom what was going on. He still would slide in a disrespectful remark, and I let it go on the strength of his youth and his uncle, and he must have been talking bad to his uncle about me or whatever. Like, man, because uncle telling the man, yo, that's the big homie. Look, make sure you, blah, 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 but you respect him, get game from him, you get ready to come out. That's who you need to be around, da, 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 da. But he didn't want to accept that because in the prison, so you understand, the way the police degrade us is the same way, they degrade the students, let's say in New York, that they make them wear uniforms. They say it's to protect them, so if a kid wear Jordans, you know what I mean, or expensive polo shirt, he ain't got to worry about nobody trying to stab him, rob him, or take his shirt or his Jordans from him. That's the guys that they use. But at the same time, it's putting everybody in the same category, in the same class. So this brother saw me in my beige prison outfit, going to the commissary, buying my food from the same list that he's buying from, wearing the same clothes he's wearing, going to eat at the chow hall the same time he's eating and the same food he's eating, so he couldn't see me any different, you understand, than himself because he's under the same restraints as me. And I understood that. I hope y'all paying attention because I give a lot of jewels on here. You know what I mean? Make sure you call me at my phone number, not the phone number on the screen, not the 207 number. Call me at, I got to take that number off. Call me at 347-480-9801. Please. I do answer my phone. I was busy yesterday. I apologize to the people that I didn't answer. Not that number on the screen, fellas. I got to change it on this. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and the brother just disrespectful. Every chance he get, he'll still slide out a little something and would be, when we loud, be arrogant and, obnoxious. And that's how this kid was. But anyway, he couldn't see me any different because of what I was wearing was the same thing as what he's wearing. So he's looking in the mirror when he's looking at me and saying he's no different than me because I'm no different. I'm just a man like you. But my mind is what make me different. My heart is what make me different. My soul is what make me different. My spirit is what make me different. My drive to survive, my loyalty, honor, and principles is what make me different. But this kid didn't want to see no difference. He just wanted to see the outside. That's why we say you can't judge a book by its cover. He tried to judge me by the cover of the same khaki outfit that we're both wearing and shopping at the same place, going to eat the same food, and so on and so on, which I understood, but he didn't understand. But I knew in time he would understand. So I fell back and I waited. Now, let me give y'all one. I want to tell y'all, how, I ducked wreck to get home, but I'm home after life plus 20. So you tell me, I'm going to tell you a scenario. Me and a good brother from Brooklyn, We go in the law library every day. He was younger than me. He was a little homie. We go in the law library every day, and we putting in our clemency. When Obama came in, we doing what we got to do. We filed our motion. We studying our case. He had a couple of murders. I got the kingpin charge, and he was a good kid. I got nothing but love and respect for him, you know. But me and his brother was cool, but he had a way with the younger dudes that he listened to them and I guess made them feel important or whatever he did, but they looked up to him. So he fell on, you know, the quiet hating bandwagon. You know what I mean? But he still respected me and he knew who I was, but he didn't want the youngins to know who I was because he wanted the youngins to look up to him. So he allowed them to belittle me to keep his name higher, like he was the man when I was the man. I had no problem with that because my objective and my goal was to get this life plus 20 years off of me. But anyway, so we filed this paperwork in court. We filed the thing to Obama, and when we filed it to Obama, I lost. I mean, not at the time. I lost eventually. But when we filed it in the court, as soon as we filed it, he lost. You know what I mean? He lost his, they denied his clemency because he had, you know, straight up murders on his joint, you know, which I had murders on my case, but I wasn't charged with him, but he was charged with some murders. So they denied him, said he was violent. So as soon as they denied him, you know, now this is where misery loves company. This brother wants me to be as miserable as him and in his company. So what he did was he put a battery in a couple of the young guys' backs that he run with, you know, to try and bring me a move. You know what I mean? Try to bring me a move. So this kid used to come in, you know, I was so close with him. He'll come in, he'll go lay down in my cell when I'm not there. When I come in, you know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, such and such upstairs. You know what I mean? I go upstairs, the homie up there laying down. He sleep because he had a cellie. I didn't have a cellie. I had a single cell. So he'll go up there and he'll eat whatever I got. And you know what I mean? And he chill. This was my brother. My house was his house. My casa was his casa. You know? So I let the brother up there. But once they lost once he lost his clemency, right after he put it in, mine didn't get denied. So he's panicking that it might not. So what he do is he put a battery in a couple of the young dudes' back, you know. So I go in the unit one day, and when I go in the unit, he's in there, and there's two other young dudes. One big ass young dude, he about 6'6", 6'7". The kid was huge, good shape, sports boy out there playing football, crushing them, baseball, basketball, crushing them. But you know, I'm cut up too. I'm in good shape. So I go up in the joint. And when I go up in the joint, dude's sitting down, and I said, damn, what's up? You're like, you know you don't bring company to my house, nigga. Excuse me, brother Muhammad 3X, excuse me. Now, I said, you know you don't bring company up in my house, you know? So he's like, nah, you know, it ain't me, you. I said, what you mean it ain't you? You brought these dudes up to my house. What are you doing? You know what I mean? And he said, man, yo, they tired of it. You getting all the money. They said that, you know, you need to break them off. I said, break them off what? You know what I mean? He said, nah, we want some stamps. Open a locker, give me some stamps. You know what I mean? I said, open a locker, give you some stamps. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying to him, you know? So, you know, we in the cell, so I could be me now. So when he said that, and the dude said, yeah, open the locker, I went right in his mouth and bust him in his joint. You understand what I'm saying? And we get to fighting in there, and my little homie, yeah, I still got to call him a homie because I want y'all to understand. That's why I say don't go to prison because you can't trust no one. The same ones you call your homies, the same ones going to try and cross you. My so-called little homie, he trying to break it up and acting like he trying to defuse it. You know what I mean? But nah, you brought a dude in my house to potentially rob me. You know what I mean? And I ain't never been robbed like that. You know what I mean? I had dudes sneak thief me and all of that. I mean, because I'm human, but as far as to tell me open my locker, that's like coming in my house telling me to open my safe. You got to kill me in front of the safe. And then you open the safe. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to willingly open the safe. And my locker is my safe. So I went to dude's mouth and we got in there fighting and my man getting in between and the dude saying, I'm going to stab him. Talking about stabbing me. You know what I mean? So that just made me fight harder. I'm turning it on him. We locking in the cell. So him and the other little homie that he brought, they looking at each other and they trying to break it up and they bugging that I'm going so hard that it's not as simple as they thought because they figured that being that my clemency was in, I wasn't gonna fight for mines. Under all circumstances, I'm gonna fight for mines. My locker fat to death. I got a electronic dictionary and thesaurus and translator, and my cell costs about $300. That's a lot of money in the prison, so that's penitentiary rich. I told y'all about penitentiary rich before. You know what I mean? I told y'all about penitentiary rich when you got the stamp. So they come up there trying to get these from me. And a lot of people say, man, you know, watching this, you know, these the trolls and suckers that I hate. The suckers that I despise. The suckers that is equivalent to a flip-flop wearing in public. You know what I mean? Yo, look. So we up there and they trying to break it up and, you know, I'm heated now. I'm ready to go, but this kid big, but I don't care because I'm going to get mines in. You know what I mean? I could never lose a fight as long as I fight back. So while we in there, we throwing the joints and, you know, big dude, he hooking off on me and we doing our thing and they trying to stop him and trying to stop me and we both fighting and, you know, and we going at it, you know. So when dude saw I wasn't going for it, my little homie that brought him up there said, nah, that's my brother, hold up, what you doing? Now he trying to defend me after he put me in this situation. I'm in there fighting these dudes because they want me to open my locker. Yeah, listen, man, it don't matter who you are, what you are, you never know. The best of them, the men that I name, has gotten into knife fights, have gotten stabbed, has been in all kind of situations and circumstances, but it's how you handle it that determines who you are as a man. And you don't dump no wreck. That's why I'm telling you, youngins, don't go to prison, don't come off the porch, so you don't have to be put in a situation to have to duck wreck. But now I'm trying to duck wreck, but they got me in the middle of the wreck. They got me in the middle of the wreck. You know what I mean? So now I go and my man is between the big dude that he brings up there, but the big dude he bring up there, he's like in his body, you know, that I'm getting out on him and I'm fighting him back so hard. I mean, I'm fighting him like it's a fight. I'm not worried about my man in there or the other dude in there or if they jump me or whatever. Because bottom line is I'm going to fight to my last breath and punch. You understand? So now my man get in between them and the dude real big, so he got these long ass arms. So my man get up on him. My man was short, so he get up on him and he pushing his man out that he brought because he saw he got to abort the mission. So when he did that, the dude, I'm gonna keep him 100 because I don't do no faking. The tall dude, he threw a long, you know, left jab. Luckily, it was just a left jab instead of a right hook. He threw a long left jab at me, bong, and he turned it and caught me on my chin. And I smacked his hand out the way and I grabbed his hand and I pulled him into him. I gave him an uppercut. And he came down and busted me in the top of my head. Boom. I heard stars. But I was good because I was fighting for mine. That's what it's about. So if y'all ain't trying to be put in this situation, don't do it. But anyway, so, you know, he hit me with the jab. You know what I mean? I hit him with the uppercut. And he gave me what we call it? A downer cut. Boom. The top of my head. It hit me so hard, it's like it was pushing my knees down to the ground, you know? So when he did that now, just keeping it 100, I gave him a vicious right hook to his nuts. And once I hit him there, he bent over, uppercut, boom. You know what I mean? Kept him up out of me. You know? So now my man pushing him out and he backing up because he holding his nuts. So on the way out, my locker was so fat. I'm talking about I had about 100 mackerels. Mackerels $1 a piece. So, you know, I had like 100 mackerels, you know, 100 tuna fish, and, you know what I mean, and maybe 100 candy bars. My locker was fat. Then I had about maybe 1,500 books of stamps in my locker. But the locker is locked, and they was trying to get me to open it. If they was really trying to rob me, they would have just broke the lock, and then it would have been on after that. I would have had to do what I had to do. But being that they told me to open it, they figured that being that my clemency was in, so you understand the moral of what's going on with the so-called homie. The so-called homie lost his clemency. Mine was still pending. We was working on them together, and he wanted mine to lose because his lost, and it didn't. So he wanted me to jack it off by fighting this dude that come up there, and figured that I might give it up easy because I don't want to jack off the clemency. But I wasn't all the way there yet. I'm going to keep it 100. I wasn't all the way there yet. You know what I mean? It's about 2000. This had to be about 2014. You know? I wasn't all the way there yet. You know, I wasn't trying to have that. I'm just keeping it 100. So when my man went to push dude out the cell, you know what I mean? When he went to push dude out the cell, I reached up and I smacked the crap out of him for even coming in there. Because now they pushing him out because he's the big dude, his nuts hurting, they trying to keep everything down. So I reached up and I smacked the crap out of him. When I smacked him, he backed up, they pushing him out the cell, and then being that my locker was so fat, that's all I mentioned it for, none of that is to brag. Being that my locker was so full, if y'all was in the prison, you know what I mean. The cup of soups are bulky, and the butt naked soups, that's the little ramen soups. So the cup of soups and ramen soup was so bulky, and they're only 25 cents a piece for the butt nakeds and 50 cents for the cup of soup. So I had about $20 in soup on the wall. $15, $20 in soup on the wall, which is a lot. It's a whole big net bag. I had a nail in the wall, and then I had the net bag up there on the wall, and you know, had the soups in it so it wouldn't take up, you know, room in the locker, because that's the least expensive thing that I had, you know, in the cell from the commissary. Dude grabs the bag and runs out. You understand what I'm saying? Now he runs out with the bag, and I go behind him instinctively because I'm not gonna let nobody take nothing from me. So I run out the cell, and when I run out the cell, they just called the move, and they go down by the metal detector by the police with my bag of soups. And they holding the bag of soups, and they looking at me like, yeah, come on, nigga. Jack your bit off. Because the fight in the cell, not on the camera, so that's all good. So they know if I go fight down there in front of the metal detector, I'm definitely going to the hole. My clemency definitely lost, and I wouldn't be sitting here on YouTube talking to you. So I had to do what they call rational thinking. You know what I mean? You know, they call it RSA. I learned all that in psychology. I had to do a RSA in my mind real quick. What are the pros and cons to running down there and putting my knife in this dude at the metal detector in front of the police, or even fist fighting with him at the front of the police? But right now, fist fighting is out because they done got out the cell. I had a chance to go get my sword. You know what I mean? So now I got the bang in me, and I'm ready to go at him. And when I'm going at him, one of my DC homies, because this is my so-called New York homie that bought this move, to show you how you can't trust homies. My DC homie see me, and he come running up there, and he said, what's up, what's up? And now I got the bang in my hand. I'm about to go make the move and say, screw clemency, screw everything, screw freedom, screw my kids, screw my woman, screw my mother, screw everybody. I got to punish this dude because he just took something from me. $10 in soup. You know what I mean? And my man said, yo, you all right? And he said, let's go get him. And once he wanted to go, that's where it tapped in. Damn, I don't want to screw his bit up. Because my man from D.C., he had some murder charges too, and he was trying to get home. Good kid, my brother. You know, I'm going to ask him. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring him up here one day, and I'll let him mention it when he want to mention it. I'm not even going to say his name, because that's how real this channel is. Like I said, man, for you fake-ass trolls, this channel is for gangsters, man. I run a gangster channel, not a sucker channel. This is a gangster channel. So if you a sucker, please just tap out and go somewhere else and go look for entertainment. If you want the real, this is where you come. You know what I mean? But I got to give you trolls and suckers. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's what you deserve. You know, no disrespect, but that's what you deserve. I don't even disrespect you suckers, you know. But anyway, so my man, he ready to roll with me, and now I gotta think for him. Do I want to jack off his bid? Me doing what I gotta do for me is one thing, but now he ready to go in it. Then I had another Muslim brother from North Carolina. You know what I mean? I don't want to say his name either. He peeked what happened and he run up there. So now they ready to roll with me because they didn't see what happened in the cell. They just saw them coming out and knew something was going on. And then they had this bag of soup over their back. He didn't even know if they took it, what went on, but they ready to roll with me. That's how official my DC and Philly brothers is. That's how official my DC and Philly brothers is. You understand what I'm saying? They didn't care what it was. Something didn't look right. They ready to go. So I pushed back, told them to hold up. Now, tell them to hold up, and check out, you know, they leave, right? So I explained to them what happened, and the homies tell me, yo, come on, son, I'm gonna go get my knife. Let's go get them, you know? So now I don't want them involved in my crap. I said, nah, I'm gonna deal with it. They said, nah, you. So now it was another DC dude did that, this how official I keep it. Let me get in the camera so y'all understand. Ain't no faking on this channel. This channel's for gangsters, man. There was another DC brother there that couldn't stand me, but he was Muslim as well. So he used to always tell me, Unique, you an arrogant, cocky, you know, and I gotta say it, Muhammad 3X. He said I was a cocky nigga, and he couldn't stand me, but he loved me for the sake of Allah. Because that's how it is when you're a Muslim. You love your brother. You understand what I'm saying? So he used to always tell me that. But when this happened, and I went down to go look out the window waiting on the move to go off, his cell was in the back, the Muslim brother that didn't like me from DC. And he said, you, come in the cell for a minute. So I go in the cell. He said, you, look, you know what I mean? He said, I love you for the sake of Allah. If you're going to roll, I'm going to roll with you. But I'm going to tell you like this. I respect you because instead of you moving out on penitentiary time, you moving out on man time. You making your own decision. You making your own rules. You making your own code. So if you want to go push to get that revenge on that, I'm with you because I'm your brother. And you know, I don't even like you. But I'm not going to let him do nothing to my brother. That's how loyal we are. And that's why I give DC so much props, man. You know what I mean? That's why I give Philly so much props. That's why I give Chicago so much props. That's why I give Cali so much props. If I give North Carolina and Jersey, everybody so much props. That's on man time. He let me make the decision that was best for me, for the situation I was in trying to get my clemency. And doing that, he let me know, I'm going to roll with you if you want to jack it off. But I think you're making the right decision by letting them niggas keep that little $10 worth of soup. You got over $5,000 in your cell. And you're going to go stab these dudes for $10 worth of soup. He said you already used your head when you didn't jack it off in front of the police. Now continue to use your head. And this was a brother that couldn't stand me. Then instead of saying, yeah, come on, let's go jack your bit off. Come on, let's school up so you spend the rest of your life in here with me. And he's still locked up. And I'm trying to find him now so I can send him some money. And I know it's going to blow his mind because he was so official. Because DC dude's official. They don't bite their tongue. They don't kiss ass. They don't do none of that. But the brother was so official. He told me in my face, I don't like you. In my face. And you got to respect that. Because he's not obligated to like me. He said, but I love you for the sake of Allah. But he told me straight up, I don't like you, man. You know what I mean? So how could you be mad at brother? But that's how official he was, man. You know, just so you understand. But, you know, then my Philly brother got involved. You know what I mean? I know I could say his name. I talk to him regularly and he official. My man Jabril. You know, Jabril from out of Philly. I think he out of North Philly. That's my brother. You know what I mean? Those of y'all that know me know Jabril. He comes up to see me in New York all the time. When this went on, Jabril was on some time like, man, screw that, man. You know what I mean? Don't let a nigga do nothing. Excuse me, brother Muhammad 3X. He was like, yo, don't let a brother take nothing from you. Don't let a brother this, man. Penitentiary rules. And Jabril was pushing the penitentiary rules in me. You know what I mean? And then the other brother said, man, yo, Unique got a chance of going home, man. Unique more valuable to us on the street than in here following these penitentiary rules. So then Jabril calmed down a little bit and he said, look, man, I'm going to go do that dude on my own. I said, nah, don't go do that, because if you go do that, they're going to think that I sent you, or the administration going to definitely come lock me up, have me investigation while I got all this planning, so let that ride. You understand what I'm saying? So he fell back, but then he had another little homie that I was cool with, official dude, little homie from Philly. He rose up, another little Muslim brother, and he said, yo, old head, I'm not with that shit, man. I'm telling you now, that shit burning me up. I said, yo, family, fall back, because if any of y'all do anything about this, the SIS, which is the security force, special investigation service for the prison, the SRS already know what happened. So if anything happened to them, they're going to come push up on me. So, man, fall back so I can try and get a chance to go home. This is my one shot to go home, big bro. You know what I mean? So the little dude said, man, all right, but I'm telling you, man, I'm ready to go handle that. You know what I mean? I'm like, family, leave it. I can handle it. You know what I mean? But right now it's not the time, because I'm trying to get out of prison. This how hard it is to get out of prison. That they bring you this type of bull. But anyway, so let me speed the story up, because we've been on here 30-something minutes. I'm trying to make this like 40 minutes. Want to just take y'all on a nice little ride, man,
Mecca what? Mecca audio. I
enter the Mecca zone. So check it out, all right? Now, the little brother from Philly, he goes to the hole, and he had a good cell, like cell 202. I had 202 in my unit. He got 202 in his unit. He could see the TV, and he in the unit with them dudes, that ran up in the set on the bullshit, right? Just keeping it 100. So he goes to the hole, and when he come out, they got the counselor to put them in his cell, So that's a prime real estate. People buy those, you know what I mean? Those type of cells in front of the TV, because when the door's locked down, you can sit right in front of your door and watch TV instead of looking out the door at the four walls and other prison bars. So he comes out the hole, and the dude is in his cell. You know what I mean? He done moved in his cell because he had pool with the counselor. So when he come out the joint, he tell him that, yo, you know that's my cell. And everybody already told him when little Philly come out, he coming to get his cell. You understand what I'm saying? So when he come out and they found out he was out, dude was still in the cell. And he goes in the unit, but dude agreed to get out the cell and give Philly back the cell. So while that was going on, Philly went, it's a big Philly car story right now. Philly went and waited till he caught dude alone. Because Philly was another little dude, you know what I mean, but heart like a lion, right? So dude leaves out. All his homies leave out, and he stayed in because he had to make a legal call. So now he's vulnerable. He's in the unit by himself. Philly went and took a lock. Picture taking this. He took a lock and put it in a sock. You know what I mean? Wrapped it around his hand and rolled up in the cell. Knocked my man whole top row out, the bottom row out. He punished him something vicious. He broke his whole face up with the lock. You know what I mean? We all in the yard. His homies in the yard, so they can't get to him. They don't know what's happening in the unit. But my man in there punished him with the lock, beat him down real bad, They both went to the hole. So they winds up letting Philly out, but they, one of them out. I don't remember which one came out. Bottom line, Philly got word to me and say, man, I had to get him, man. I know you told me don't get him, but I had to get him. It was over my situation over the cells, so it ain't gonna come back on you. But I was really in my feelings about him even trying you after you was so good to him. But that's what this is about. It don't matter how good you treat a person, the snake always come out of them. The snake always come out of them. So the moral of this story is, man, don't go to prison and make your own choice so that you don't have to wind up in a bad situation from the choices that you made. You understand where I'm coming from? Now, I'm about to tap out, man. I got the number down there in the front if y'all want to holler at me. You know what I mean? So if it still got minutes, I take my phone calls, I answer my comments. Go download the video at Spotify or iTunes for the podcast, our podcast, whatever they got. At Unique Mecca Audio, I need a couple more downloads. I think I'm already monetized, but to be on the safe side, I like to be above here. All right? Now, I want to thank y'all for tapping in. You know what I mean? I just wanted to spend this, this Friday with you. Have a good, what's this, Memorial Day weekend? You know what I mean? And I will be spending with my grandkids. I might even post today. I haven't posted on my Instagram in a minute because none of that moves me. I'm just chilling. All right? But, let me tap out, man. All right?
Cheers to crime.
Can of 26, we back on the strip, get it back in the mix. What mentions is gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Take a little gully posse and put it in home. We cut from the bottom, I came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you gon' get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you gon' visit. Then you consider yourself linked. Click front row, hit Jews from a kingpin. I went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. Did not pay attention, what was stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grands got along. A man that generated minutes on the block, did it time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the night. Drop top beaming so shiny. I let shorty go, she was wine. Treat her like my past, she behind. Spin a couple bands on the dapper pen. You got that pen, getting green like Pat's fan. No cap, it's a raw uptown. They be hard uptown, the minute they bust down. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now you trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, Linda dead. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now we're waiting about selling drugs, buying cars, buying property to make the community y'all. So we can give back to the youth them, cause they the truth them, and bless up to all the rural them.